This video is kindly sponsored by Squarespace, but more on that a little later. Hi guys, welcome here. If you're new here, my name's Bethany. I'm the girl behind Well Love Knits, and in this video, I would really love to chat with you guys a little bit about what I've got going on for my fall knitting plans. Fall knitting dreams, more like. I feel like these videos are more inspiration and lofty goals because in seasons past, years past, I've put together these videos, for each season and planning what I want to have on the needles and cast off the needles. Every time I make one of these videos, I have it in mind that I'm gonna finish all of these projects. And of course, these videos end up being like 40 minutes long with like a list of 10 items, and it's extremely unrealistic for me. So they mainly serve as inspiration. But I have been impressed with, past videos, what I have been able to accomplish. I think this time last year, I set out to make, well, I don't know how many I said exactly, but I did manage to make quite a few. I made a sweater for myself, a sweater for my husband, I think something for Arthur as well. So I did get to achieve things, but only a small little amount. If you can relate, definitely tell me in the comments because I feel like this is something that we all kind of do. Our eyes are bigger than our hands. Again, our knitting goals are bigger, I don't know. Anyway, put whatever kind of analogy you want to in there. The gist is that we're talking about fall knitting plans and what I want to be making throughout the next couple of months. And I'm kind of late on this video because 1 month I feel like of prime fall knitting time has already passed, so we need to get into this and I need to set my intentions now so then we can look back and see what I did manage to get done. So we're gonna keep it casual. I'm gonna knit and chat. I have my sock tube. While I haven't really been working on this sock tube all that much, it is really nice to just have one of those projects that, I can set down for weeks at a time and then come back to in moments like this when I want to sit and knit and chat with you guys. It's just nice to have that option, and I'm really not in a rush with this project, which is really great. I mean, it's socks. I have quite a few hand knitted socks now, so it's not like something like a gap that I'm trying to fill in my closet. So yeah, having this project on standby is really nice. So I think we're about ready to get into the plans that I have for this fall, but before I do want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, which is Squarespace, and let me tell you a little bit about them. I know you guys already know that Squarespace is my favorite platform for building a website, building an online presence. That's because I personally use them and I have been very happy with the quality of service that I've been provided by Squarespace, as well as just the product that I've been able to produce. You can create a space that really reflects your personality and what you want to showcase with the world, but then you can also up your services. You can create newsletters, have memberships, and many other things that cater to your specific needs for whatever you need your website to do. So definitely check out Squarespace. I would really encourage you. I personally love it. You guys know that, and I think you will too. So check out the link in the description and get started to play around and see how you want to make your own website. And then when you're ready to launch, you can use the discount in the description to get 10% off your first website or domain. So thank you very much to Squarespace for being a constant support of this channel, and thank you for supporting brands that support me. So let's talk about these fall knitting plans, shall we? Like I said, it's pretty casual. I would hate to tell you that I don't really have any, but for myself, I can't really say that I've given it all that much thought. I hate having to say that. It's just, I think okay, what I've got going on, I'm really interested in continuing them. So for the first time in history, in what I want to knit for XYZ season history, I'm actually going to likely continue all of the projects that I have on the needles and not set them down, don't put them aside, and I want to finish them in fall, or at least I want to continuously work on them in fall. So let's talk about those because I have quite a few. The first one that I've been working on is one of my own patterns. It's not really a pattern. So what I've been working on is a sweater that I'm using the measurements from a sweatshirt that I own, and I've been creating a little bit of a pattern there. I haven't really shared it with you guys. I think I might have sneak peeked it in one knitting podcast, but I didn't really talk about it too much lately, but it is probably one of the bigger things that I'm working on. The plan is to post a whole video about it. It's not really secret or anything, and I will try to insert footage here so that you guys can see what it looks like. But basically, I'm taking a sweatshirt that I love, that I bought from the store, and I'm using measurements from that sweatshirt, the fit of it and how it fits me. And from a swatch, I calculated how to, you know, knit it up with yarn and needles. I mean, yeah, I'm just making a pattern out of it, is basically what I'm trying to tell you. I am really excited about that project. I'm losing steam on it a little bit, so I want to switch gears. But I want to be responsible, again, and work on things that I've already cast on the needle. So I have that project. It's kind of like an unnamed little self-drafted sweatshirt pattern. And then on top of that, I have my mousseau, which I was working on last time. That's the mohair circular yoke sweater by Espace Tricot. And I'm just about done with the circular yoke of that sweater. It's definitely outside of my comfort zone, but project-wise, it's a lot of fun to work on. So I'm definitely gonna be continuing that into fall. Of course, I've got my sock tube, which, like I've told you, is just going to be a knit on it when you can type of thing. I also have a cardigan on the needles that's been on the needles by Knit and Wear, which is a knitting kit company that I think is partnered with Rowan Yarn. And that one, I have to admit, I haven't gotten very far on that one either, and I was really expecting to. Yeah, considering over the past couple of months, I've cast on quite a few projects, and I haven't gotten very far on them, and I've only finished one since summertime, I think. I think so. Yeah, so since summertime, I've cast on quite a few projects, and the only one that I finished was that Luca cardigan for Arthur. And so that summer has just been a really tough month for me as far as finished objects go. So the one cardigan pattern that I have, and it reminded me of the Luca cardigan because it's a little bit textured, which is why I picked it up. I actually was gifted that kit, and it had been sitting in my stash for a little bit because I just was not ready to be working on something so wintry, because it is very heavy duty, I think, in comparison to, you know, the mousseau, which would be a really nice spring transitional piece. This one, I think, is definitely going to keep me nice and warm in fall, like when we're transitioning over to winter time, so when it starts to get pretty cool outside. So that one I really want to keep on the needles as well. Like, I don't want that to become a UFO at all, even though it's dangerously close to being, because I was really going heavy on that project. It's a paneled project, so that kind of explains why it's stalled a little bit, because back and forth paneled knitting is just not as engaging to me as it used to be. I really don't remember paneled knitting being as difficult as it is now, and I think that's just because I didn't know what the alternative was. I was not exposed to circular knitting in the slightest, so yeah, I've only gotten halfway on that back panel, and I haven't touched any other parts of the cardigan. So this is really basically as if I'm casting on something new. I haven't gotten that much progress, so it really won't feel much different than a brand new project. And that is called the clay cardigan. So we've got the clay cardigan, we've got the mousseau, we've got the sweatshirt DIY that I'm working on, the self-drafted sweatshirt. I think those are the three that are most active on the needles now. But then we have something left off from last year's fall knitting plans. And that's something that I would really like I don't know if I really want to have it anymore. It's not really like a huge desire for me to have in my wardrobe, because when I first envisioned this project and I announced it last year for I decided on it last year for my fall knitting plans for 2022, I wanted that finished object really badly. I don't know if I really want it anymore, but I want to continue with it because I started it. I like the yarn. It's the Inclination Shawl by Andrea Mowry that I started with the Menos del Uruguay colors yarn. It has like these really beautiful fall tones, like fallen leaves, kind of a metallic-y sheen to it. The colors of the yarn is stunning. And also how it's working up, it's a little surprising to me, but I also am really loving it too. Or I was at the time. I haven't really looked at the project in a long time, but as I knew that I wasn't going to, or that I was gonna lose steam on it, I think early this year, I decided to put it in a bag and put it aside for this fall. And what I really wanted about it last year, what I really wanted it for was to breastfeed. And actually Arthur and I are coming at the end of our breastfeeding journey. So I don't know how much shawls are gonna be useful to me now that I'm chasing after Arthur and we're not really doing the whole breastfeeding thing as much anymore. Yeah, I don't know how shawls would fit into my life, but I do think, you know, it's always nice to have a little bit of an extra cozy layer. So it could be nice, you know, to continue. I think it would be a shame to frog it, and also kind of a nightmare, just the way that the Inclinations shawl is worked up with the color changing that I'm specifically doing. Yeah, it would just be a tangled mess in 5 seconds flat. So I'm thinking that we skip frogging and we go forward with continuing this project. And I don't want it to be a UFO. I really don't, because I really like the pattern. I love the idea of the shawl. So I would really like it to be, yeah, I would really like it to be a finished object. Would I use it? I don't know. It was the idea, but I'm gonna try and convince myself that I will use it, because then I'm more likely to finish the project, you know what I'm saying? That's for me. As far as my knitting plans go for myself, I'm not going to really be casting on anything new, which is kind of disappointing. But then on the other hand, I do have ideas for the men in my life, and I would like to knit stuff for them, mainly for Arthur. I will touch on his father first though, because I don't know if I'm actually gonna be able to get it worked in, but it was kind of something that I wanted to do each season in the winter time, each winter season. I would love to make a sweater for my boys. Last year I made the zipper sweater man, which actually turned out quite well. I was very skeptical of it when it all came to being finalized. Like when I was putting the zipper in, I was really thinking, oh no, this thing isn't gonna work. I'm gonna have to wear it. It's gonna be a sweater for me. Which I did put the zipper in, and it was a sweater for me for like maybe a week. And then I insisted that he tried it on again, and it worked out okay. So that sweater is going to be in use this season by Roz, which is great. So I don't know if I necessarily need to work on another sweater, because he didn't really get much use out of the one that I made for this past winter. But I am kind of thinking that maybe I should get started on something. I am really into Knitwits and Yarns, his patterns, because they give like an early 2000s vibe, and I've been really seeing a lot of people, mainly like teenagers in our area. We live near a high school, not to be inspired by teenage fashion, and I don't want to dress my husband like a teenager, but there are some really cute sweaters that I've been seeing that are very similar to ones that I remember growing up and seeing other adults wear. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe I can insert some pictures. There's definitely styles from Knitwits and Yarns. His patterns are really hitting that vibe, and I would really love to cast on one. I do think that most of his are paneled knitting though. And if I'm having a really hard time with the cardigan, then I probably should just forget it and move on to something else. But we'll see. I'll do some investigating there. Some, you know, like nice, not all over stripes, but like a little bit of a stripe motif up at the yoke is what I was seeing and also thinking for him. So yeah, I'll put some inspiration pictures up there. So if I, you know, have like the burning desire to get started with a sweater for him, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then Arthur, if we're talking about knitting plans, he's the one that I've planned for the most. So I have the most solid knitting plans for him, and I have them written down. The fall knitting plans for my toddler would be a Christmas sweater, a stuffed animal, and socks. Those are 3 things that I would really hope to achieve. Man, I'm realizing now that I said at the beginning of this that I'm not going to have a really long list of plans, but I've already listed off probably 10 things. So I was roasting myself in the beginning of this, and I'm realizing now that I'm doing the exact same thing. So forget everything that I said at the beginning. But anyway, my knitting plans for Arthur. I would love to make him a Christmas sweater, so something that I could gift him for Christmas. In my defense, these are small. The Christmas sweater could be multiple things though. I don't have one pattern solidified yet that I want to do, but here are some options. So there is the panda sweater, which is something that I saw Clara knit up. I'll insert her handle here as well. I'm sure you follow her on Instagram. She has the cutest style for her son. And I was really, really inspired, and I'm low-key going to just steal the idea and credit her, of course, but she made the panda sweater with boucle yarn. So it's a little sweater with a solid background and then a big panda at the front. And for the panda, she did boucle yarn. And I just thought that that was the most clever thing. It looks like the coziest, sweetest child sweater. And I would love for Arthur to have his own version. So that's one. And it's a really top contender too. Another one would be the Weasley sweater, which is just really cute and classic, and I feel like a little sweater with an A on it would just be so adorable, and obviously in the Gryffindor colors would be really sweet. I know Roz would really like that. He would probably vote on that one. And I think that that's a sweater that I could always do later down the line. And maybe the panda would fit him a little bit more now, and then as he gets older, maybe he would just want something that would be, you know, just his initials. I'm not sure. In any case, this is something, again, that I want to do as kind of like a tradition going forward. It might be more difficult as he gets older, but as he's a child, I'm going to hopefully knit him a sweater for Christmas every year, which would be really sweet. I don't think as he gets older, it would be necessarily a secret. But obviously it doesn't matter now because he's not 100% aware of what I'm doing, and I'm not always knitting in front of him. So that would be a fun little Christmas gift to do. So it could be the panda sweater, the Weasley sweater, and then there's the Marieke by Alongavec Anna. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that one. I will put it on the screen as well. It's just this really cute yoked sweater that looks a little festive, and it kind of reminded me of Christmas, and I thought that, that would be really sweet to do as well. It's kind of like a little wreath motif along the yoke, and I just thought that would be a really cute one to do also. So those are my 3 options that I'm kind of mulling over. I do think that the panda sweater would be the cutest though. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. But only time will tell, and I'll follow up with you guys on that one so you can see the progress. Okay, so I said I want to do a Christmas sweater, I want to do a stuffed animal, and the stuffed animal, I definitely have a pattern in mind, and I already have the yarn too. So it's the tiger from the Wild Knitted Animal Friends. When I was doing my baby knits journey, I made the giraffe, Isabel the giraffe from Wild Knitted Animal Friends, and I really loved how it turned out. It was really sweet. So much that I purchased the yarn, and since I've purchased the yarn, I need to make this tiger. And so I was thinking that maybe I would be able to fit it in for Christmas, but now that I'm talking and just telling you guys everything that I've been thinking about in terms of fall knitting plans, the more my brain is just like, Bethany, you're not going to do this. So this is something that's on standby, a, you know, if it happens, happens kind of project. But probably won't happen. But it is something that I will be doing at some point because, again, I have the yarn and he really loves his Isabel. He's not so into stuffed animals right now, but I think soon he's going to get a little bit more enthusiastic about it and he'll understand. He really loves live animals. He's a big animal lover, so hopefully stuffed animals will be something that he loves soon too. And then again, socks. There's a free pattern called the Basic Toddler Socks, and I think that's what I'm going to be using to knit up some socks for Arthur. I also have the Everyday Sock by Andrea Mowry, and I think that is also a toddler size. I know that there's a baby size, so there's definitely a toddler size. She's got all feet covered. Yeah. You know, when I first pressed record and I wanted to touch on this topic, I was really going into filming this thinking like, yeah, I'm not going to be giving a huge list of patterns that I won't be able to cast on. And that's true to an extent. I didn't give you patterns that I haven't cast on yet, but I gave you a huge, obscenely long list of things that I already have on the needles that I want to finish. And then I did also, on top of that, add on to it by saying some things that I wanted to cast on. I feel a little silly. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. You know, I'll keep you guys updated. Some of these projects, as much as my good intentions that I don't want to have any UFOs, it's inevitable sometimes. And I don't think all of the projects that I currently have on the needles will get done. Who knows if I'll bring that shawl out of hibernation as well. As much as I would love to have fingers that honestly just work while I'm doing other things, that's just not the case. So I will do a follow-up. You know what? I think at the end of the season, which I don't do often, is what actually happened. What I actually made in fall 2023. So I think that that is a video that I'm definitely going to have to follow up on. So we will see. Like I said, September is already come and gone, so I've already missed 1 month of valuable fall knitting time. So I think maybe in December we'll come back and we'll figure out what the heck happened. I would really love to have some good progress on some of those things that I mentioned. Definitely let me know what you guys have planned for your fall knitting plan. Do you have plans? What's your process? Do you just see it and you cast it on, or do you make a list like I do sometimes? And then, you know, how does that go for you? I would love to know. And how many of you are actually going to be continuing on what you've been working on through summer into fall? I would really love to hear that too. More power to you if you can resist casting on something, because I feel like I might end up casting on something that I shouldn't. If you like this video, definitely give it a like. That really helps me out, and maybe subscribe. Don't forget to check out Squarespace, and thank you so much for supporting brands that support this channel. All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.